So let's talk about the humbling spaces that you will reach in your life when prayers are being answered. And baby, let me tell you, when I say humbling, it is humbling. It is taking my ego and crushing it in a way that I never expected. But I'm going to tell you this whole story because I want you to pay attention to how you can be in a space of feeling offended and still see God's hand in it. So this is a current testimony that I am sharing with you all, and I hope that it blesses someone. I hope it speaks to a space that you may find yourself in and may be struggling to, and give you some comfort and letting you know where to seek God in this and just how to continue to push forward. All right, so full transparency, y'all. Professionally, I have prided myself for decades. I'm 41, so for decades, I have been hella proud of my professional accomplishments. I have been proud of the fact that I set out to do some things. I am this stubborn, strong-willed, educated woman that's like, listen, professionally, if I don't know a thing, I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to stay on it till I figure it out. You only got one time to tell me that I messed up on something before I tell you I come back 18 times stronger. Now, if I'm being honest with myself, that's a trauma response, right? And so I wouldn't have known that part if I didn't start doing the work on myself a few years ago and continue to do the work on myself to learn the depths of that. If you want to know more about what I mean by that, drop a comment or something in the chat and I'll make a different video on that. But I want to stay focused on the testimony that is this story. So I prided myself on being great at work and learning something, right? There's always more to learn. And so I've moved up in my professional career all the way to the point where I started my own practice. And so this is what this video is a part of, right? This is part of my entrepreneurial journey. But this particular moment that I'm speaking of is about my 9-to-5. And so I call it my 9-to-5 because NSG is my legacy. That is my business. And so I'm working in my 9-to-5, and I had asked God to give me a 9-to-5 that I thought would allow me the space and time to still work on my legacy and also be something that is not so mentally draining that I am finding myself in spaces where I've been in previous positions where I'm overworked and the stakes are high and you know, it's crisis after crisis and so forth. I didn't want to be back in that kind of work. And so when this opportunity came, I'm like, oh God, it looks like an answered prayer. And there are so many surrounding things with this position and my faith life. Where the position was located was multiple answered prayers, and God is like, yeah, go take this. I was a little bit nervous, but that confirmation, that comfort in the confirmation, I was like, all right, God. One of the things that I have been praying that I often pray that was kind of unrelated to this job, or so I thought, was that, listen, hey, use me and take me out of the way of being stubborn in any way that you need to use me. So don't let me be a block to you using me, in short. I get to this job though, and I find myself struggling. And I find myself struggling in a few areas. One, I'm the only Black person on the team. I'm the only Black person in all of the meetings that I'm sitting in, with the exception of one large company outing. That's where I saw 2 other Black people. And so being in this new environment, not just the workspace, but I moved for this. So being in this new environment, not seeing a lot of people of color, was something that impacted me in a way that I didn't think about, right? I had thought about it and I'm like, all right, I got this. But baby, the levels of impact that can do when you see yourself in a space where you don't see other people like you is a whole different thing. And I started to realize the depths of my own internalized oppression and how it was impacting me. And I started to recognize just how necessary it is when you see others that look like you and you feel connected, right? The idea of connectedness blew out of control with this new space that I was in. And I started thinking about it in ways that I'd never had before. So now you take that and you couple it with feeling like, okay, but this is a job that I know how to do pretty well, more than pretty well, because I've excelled in similar roles in other agencies. And so this should be fine. And then you get hit with not here. And you start realizing that you're not as good at your job as you thought you were. Baby, you want to talk about something to the ego? And then the fact that I'm making a video and I'm sharing this with y'all, it is painful. It's painful because it's a revelation that, I never thought I would have to encounter, because I always felt that my professional accolades were all within my scope to achieve. And it's not that I don't believe that to be true now. It's just that I didn't think I would have to relearn things in such a major way. And so here's why this is a spiritual testimony as opposed to a professional development conversation. Because in praying as hard as I do and seeking God's guidance and wisdom as much as I do, the thing that God pointed out to me is that He placed me here because I have work to do here. And with what I know, I'm not going to be able to do it if I continue to operate in a space where I feel like it's my skill set and my professional knowledge that's getting me where I need to go. I'm not going to seek Him and be able to have the impact that I'm having. Even this video right here is a testimony unto itself, because it's almost like God is like, I need you to share this part of your journey, because there are other people who are doubting themselves and who are going through the insecurity that you are going through, feeling like, hey, you knew a thing and now you're struggling in a way that you never imagined that you would. And you're feeling like you were less than, and you are questioning if you belong in a space. Even when God told you to go to the space, you still are doubting, hey, maybe I got this wrong, because your ego is feeling hurt. Your ego is feeling exposed, and parts of you that you never thought that you would have to share to others are being seen. The part of you that's struggling with not getting it right, not having the right answer, is being seen by others. And for so long, you worked on hiding this, but now it's here. It's front and center, but it's not front and center for you to be embarrassed. See, that's the thing that you don't understand. God is telling me, and He's telling you, that you are in this present moment because you need to understand just how strong God's hand is on you in this moment, and how God is orchestrating your steps, and how no harm will come to you, even when you feel like you are being exposed and called out and embarrassed and shamed because you're making mistakes, or you don't know something, or there's miscommunications and mismatches out the wazoo. God is saying that I need you to bring me all of those things, so that way you can learn to rest in me and not your own intelligence, so that you can learn to rest in me and not your own professional skills, so that you can learn to rest in me and know that through anything, I can take you through victorious. And as I'm going through this, right, what I am experiencing in an enormous amount is my reliance on God taking me through each workday, and knowing that as I close out each workday, God has given me a little something extra. Even though it was difficult, one, each day He checks off and say, hey, you made it. And each day He's able to remind me that I made it. He's also able to remind me that I made it while still being able to show love to somebody, while lowering my defenses and being submitted to saying, hey, okay, God, how do we want to do this? While being able to tap into the emotions that I'm experiencing and saying, hey, what part of you needs attention right now? What's being activated for you in this moment, and how can I love on you? God is showing me this grace like I've never known, because He told me that I am here in this space for a reason. He told me that He is going to build my reliance on Him so deep and so strong that I don't have to worry about wondering where anything is going to come from, because it's not going to be through my strength and my might. It's going to be through His godly hand working with me and using all that I have, not in the way that I think He should use it, but in the way that He thinks in the way that He knows it should be used. And so I share this message with you to say, do not give up because it feels tough. Do not give up because all that you thought you once knew about yourself is in question, but know that you are being transformed into something so much greater. And you are being asked to stay the course. You are being asked to stand firm. You are being asked to turn to God. And I'm going to close this out with an example of this visual that I often have. And I saw a picture once of a dove sleeping in this like hailstorm. And God continues to bring that picture up for me. So I want to share it with you because what it represents to me is that God is saying, even though you feel like all hell is breaking loose around you, you can be like that dove and rest in me, and I will make sure that no harm comes to you in this process. And even though it may not be ideal, even though it's not the situation you called for, I am with you. I'm taking you through. I'm protecting you all the way. So stay in Him. In the meantime, if you are looking for more support like this, if you are looking to connect with me and others who are making our own faith journey stronger and stronger, then join the Goal Achievers Alliance. If you're looking for some coaching in other developmental areas, then consider checking out thekeynsg.com. Never stop growing, folks.